All right, the chip shot today. I was gonna go on about my man Dylan DeZoo and how he may have changed the whole outlook for the Texas basketball season. But I will shift gears. I'll let my man Zay handle that, and I will talk about Bo Davis. And here's okay. Here's a jolt to your team, your culture, um, and your culture should carry the day here. And so Steve Sarkisian's no dummy. If he knows this is coming, he's talking to all the recruits. I've seen the comments rolling in from folks worrying about kids wanting to leave, DeAndre Robinson, Melvin Hills, whatever. And here's the thing with Steve Sarkisian and this coaching staff and this team, the culture this is where your culture gets tested. And even Alfred Collins. I mean, Alfred Collins could change his mind, I guess. But this is where your culture gets tested and you are about more than one person. Now, granted, having that person be your position coach, it's a jolt because that Bo Davis has helped develop some of the best defensive linemen in college football, wherever he's been, at Alabama, at LSU, when he was the strength coach there. How about that? Bo Davis, the strength coach in 03 under Nick Saban at LSU when they won the national championship, and then went with Nick Saban to the Miami Dolphins, and then went with Nick Saban to Alabama, coached at Alabama a couple different times, of course, coached at Texas under Mac Brown, and coached the Detroit Lions. That's where Texas hired him from. But this is about the team coming together, about Steve Sarkisian letting the players know we're going to go hire the best defensive line coach in the country. We understand that Bo Davis wants to go coach his son. It's a rare opportunity. I'm doing it with my son Brady here at Texas. And you send that reassuring message right away. And yeah, it's a good point here from Jose. Is Sark made a bad hire yet? He inherited Andre Coleman from Tom Herman and then decided to let him go in favor of Brennan Marion. And then Brennan Marion gets the job at UNLV as offensive coordinator. Steve Sarkisian hires Chris Jackson from the Jacksonville Jaguars. So Texas is one of the hottest places to be because of A, they have resources. B, they have a coach who's got stuff lined up and in place. ESPN, remember the way too early rankings that came out yesterday have Texas at number 2. And so Sark's been through a hell of a lot tougher than this in his life. And I expect Steve Sarkisian to send that calming message across the Moncrief Newhouse football complex, settle everybody down, and then go out and hire the best defensive line coach available and take his time. Make sure you get the right guy. And Sarkisian has shown us that he's willing to take his time. He took his time on the wide receiver coaching hire. He took his time on the hire of Johnny Nansen, although I think Sark and Nansen knew, but they wanted to get through the football games at the end of the year. And so, look, Steve Sarkisian, he's watched Nick Saban handle this every year. Nick Saban gets coordinators hired every year and has to go replace them. And Saban always goes after the best. He went after Ryan Grubb at Washington. Grubb stayed because he knew they had a special team, and Grubb was right. And so Sark's seen how this plays out. He knows everybody in football. I'll be stunned if Sark doesn't make a great hire to replace Bo Davis. And, there are a lot of really talented defensive line coaches. Obviously, there's an attachment with Texas fans with Bo Davis because of the rant that Zay played earlier after the Iowa State game. They lost 30-7. There were non-believers on that bus, and Bo Davis wanted to let him have it, and he let him have it and said, some of you MFers need to get in the portal. And y'all think this is funny? I just got my ass kicked.
Yeah.
And every Texas fan could feel it and appreciated it and loved his fire. He was so fired up in that rant, he couldn't even get the words out at different
he was tearing up. You could hear him getting choked up of how pissed off and passionate he was about that 2021 squad.
And Steve Sarkisian said that rant was one of the tipping points for the changing of the culture in the program. And Sark said, I joke with Bo Davis, they're going to build you a statue, Bo, in the north end of DKR for that rant. And so that's why this is super tough news today, because Texas fans remember that low point. They remember Bo Davis's fire. They remember how much he wanted to get this changed and was willing to put his voice to that, and did. And someone secretly recorded it, and Steve Sarkisian was asked, were you nervous when that first came out? And he was like, honestly, no. Like, that's what everyone needed to hear. And he was like, I was worried only that bus, we have 14 buses. I was worried only that bus was going to hear what Bo had to say. And now they got rid of that player who recorded it, but everybody heard it. And that's why there's, extra sentimental attachment to Bo Davis. That and the fact that he coached the two highest rated interior defensive linemen in college football this year, in Devondre Sweat and Byron Murphy. So, look, when you're hot, you're hot. And in this situation for Bo Davis, it involves him wanting to coach his son. And I was told point blank by someone who was involved that this was really important to Bo Davis, that it wasn't, even if it's only for a year. I mean, his son has spent 3 years in college football already. He's got all kinds of eligibility left because he hasn't played. And I don't think he'll ever play at LSU, maybe on special teams, but either way, again, this is how coaches get to spend time with their kids, is if they're getting to coach them because they're in the same place all those hours that is required of football players. So I think Steve Sarkisian, the way that he's handled everything else, I'll be shocked if he doesn't make a great hire. So,
yeah, I'm right there with you. And to what you just said about Sark knowing people, like you always hear the saying, sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know. So Sark's going to be calling around the nation, asking guys, hey, who do you think fits this spot? Who do you think understands what I'm about and understands what the University of Texas is about, specifically the football program going to the SEC? We need that because Bo Davis will be missed. And just kind of go to the person Bo Davis is. Like, dude wants to coach his son. If he probably didn't have a kid, he might still be at Texas now. He might even look past the fact that LSU is where he went and played college during the mid-90s. But he said straight up, I want to coach my kid. And you're talking about a coach's son throwing this at you. My pops always says to everyone, one of the highlights of his career was coaching his two boys, me and my brother Brandon. I don't know why, because we just gave him 2 district championships out of the 5 years combined that we played varsity. But still, like, that's just, it's different. It's a different feeling. And again, like I said earlier in the show, I wouldn't trade those moments for the world. All those moments getting yelled at and blood, sweat, and tears and stuff, I would not trade those moments for the world playing for my pops, man. It was some of the greatest moments of my life. So I get it. I really do what Bo Davis is trying to do there. And it's LSU. Come on. We're talking about one of the blue bloods. We're talking about like the state of Louisiana, the players that they produced, man, and just the talent that you see that comes out of Baton Rouge. Like, it's not like he's going to rump roast. It'd be different if his son played at Illinois or something, or Boston College. Sorry, Bucky. But you know where I'm getting here. Like, this is LSU. This is still on the same level. It's still SEC football. You know what I'm saying? So you can't knock Bo whatsoever. Yes, it hurts, but with how hot Texas is right now, with how positive things are going, yeah, Sark should be able to hire another A quality coach, and they should be able to come in and understand what's going on here at the 40 acres and produce just like Bo Davis did.